or 6 NFL playoffs contest is, which team will win, and by how many points? Who do you like in this game?
I think San Francisco's healthy, loaded, at home. D Ford back, Quan Alexander. I like San Francisco by 10. I think San Francisco and Kansas City are good. San Francisco, how about George Kittle? How much talent do we have in America? 5th-round pick, George Kittle. Speaking of talent, Darius Slayton goes to Auburn, Norcross, Georgia, walks into the NFL. You end up having 8 touchdowns, almost 800 yards. I think it's tied for the most touchdowns for a rookie. So everybody was talking about the Giants have to get receivers in the draft. No, they don't, because Darius Slayton arrived. You had a great rookie year. Now, part of it is I think you played in the SEC West, which is just a fist fight. Do you think playing 10 of the last 11 years, the SEC West has had somebody either win or in the national championship game? Do you think your college experience in the SEC West helped make the transition to the New York Giants and the NFL easier?
For sure. I think, like you said, I mean, it's NFL athletes all over the place in that league. And I definitely feel like my jump from the NFL, from college to NFL, was pretty smooth physically. You know, you play against such fast, big, physical players in the SEC, and you kind of see the same brand of guy in the NFL. So I definitely think it helped.
Yeah, I mean, you're going against LSU, you're going against Alabama. Those guys are all NFL corners.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting as we talk about, and I love having you young guys on because you're coming into the league. We introduce you to people, and you know it's funny about take the New York Giants. So you get to the New York Giants. I don't know anything about Daniel Jones. He looks like Eli. I watched him in college at Duke, and I'm like, I don't know. Then I watched him against Tampa, and I'm like, okay. Joey came on. We were like, okay, this guy can play. When did you know with Daniel Jones? Where was the practice, the epiphany, the moment you're like, oh, he can spin it. This guy can play?
Our very first day, actually. Our very first day of rookie camp, we did a one-on-one, and I had a go ball, and he just launched it. And it was perfect in stride, and I caught it. You know, for me, being the guy that likes to run deep routes, you know, you drop it on me like that, you know, I'm sold. You know, I was like, you know, that's my guy. But I definitely think he, especially in that Tampa game, I think you saw, you know, who Daniel Jones is. I mean, he played tough. Down the stretch, he ran the ball some, threw it some to get us the win. And, you know, I expect great things from him.
Pat Shurmur's a very good offensive coordinator, didn't work as a head coach. So the Giants elevate Joe Judge. Judge has worked with Saban. He's worked with Belichick. They both gave him huge plaudits. He's young. How do you think it works? He's not an offensive guy. He's more of a special teams guy. What is your gut feeling on this?
I think it works. It works really well because he's a special teams guy, first-time head coach. So I think, you know, and I think some of the offensive coordinators we've interviewed, defense coordinators have been more veteran guys. So I think when you have a young first-time coach like that, you bring in a veteran OC, veteran DC, and then those three come together, and I think you have, you know, a really good situation because, you know, he's not leaning too hard either way.
You know, it is funny about this. You guys played, Darius Slayton joining us, you played the Packers this year. You had a very good game against Green Bay. Mm-hmm. So we talked about it this year. San Francisco's defense tends to be, you know, it's Mike Tyson in its prime. It can just overwhelm you.
Yeah.
There are certain defenses in this league, they can overwhelm you. Green Bay's defense, good linebackers, Preston and Zarius Smith, it doesn't feel like it's an overwhelming, but it's opportunistic. So when you played the Packers, what were the crevices and the angles you found? Because you had success against them. What works against them?
I think initially you definitely have to block those two guys, though. You got to handle the Smith brothers, you know, with either running back chip or a tight end chip, just something to slow them down. And then I think after that, I mean, I think they've got good receivers like Emmanuel Sanders, Deebo Samuel, and I think they'll have a chance to have some good matchups in the back end.
Yeah. When you're playing on a team like you were the Giants this year, and they're kind of struggling to find their way, you know, in the NBA, it's a long season. NFL, you got 8 home games, 8 roads. You guys, Daniel Jones and you guys on the offense played very well in spots where the season was over. At Auburn, that's not the case. At Auburn, that Alabama game, it doesn't matter. It's just staring at you. The LSU game. This was the first time, and you went to Norcross, Georgia for a high school power. And then you're at Auburn. You're in big games. For the first time in your life, you were out of it substantially. But yet you played hard. The team played hard. Take people that are watching our show into what was it like for you, and what is it like to play knowing we're not a playoff team?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's not a good feeling, knowing that you're not playing with a chance to make the playoffs. Because I think every year you go into season competing for a championship. But I think at the end of the day, it speaks volumes to the kind of guys we have on our team. Very competitive. Not the kind of guys just go out there and just give halfway effort. And I think it starts with our veteran players, guys like Marcus Golden, even Evan Ingram when he was healthy. And then I think the fact that we do have a lot of youth, and for us, as rookies, we're just still learning. So, all we know is go hard. So, Dan, even towards the end of the year, he got hurt. He was fighting to come back. I think, sometimes you see guys maybe get hurt or something. They might want to try to sit out or milk it or something. But, I mean, he was fighting to get back as quick as he could. And then, he did come back and play those last 2 weeks. So, good.
Darius Slayton, 8 touchdowns, tied. I'm looking at it here, tied for most among rookies. So, this will be kind of a wonky question. I'm kind of a nerd. I like recruiting. I like all this stuff. So you walk into the NFL, and there are, in the NBA they call it you don't need a screen. You can get your own shot. There's not that many NBA players. Westbrook can, Harden can. They can get their own shot.
Yeah.
When you line up in the NFL, every corner you face was all SEC, all Big 12. Was there a corner this year? And again, nobody stopped you in college, and nobody stopped you in high school.
Yeah.
Was there a corner this year you're like, he's good? Like, he's as fast as me. He's as good as me. Did you face that a couple of times for the first time in your life?
Oh, for sure. A couple times. And not always just physically. Like, I think guys' name doesn't come up a lot, like Kyle Fuller.
For the Bears?
Yeah, he's really smart.
Virginia Tech.
Really smart. He's not as physically gifted as some other guys, but it was a couple times where it was like he was in my head. And he was, knew where I was going before I was going. And it was just crazy.
So obviously he watched film.
Yeah, a lot.
High school and college, not that you, Darius, wouldn't watch film, but if you're a great athlete in high school and college, you could be sloppy on film and get open. Do you feel like now you're in a film room a lot?
Definitely way more. Or definitely going to this next year, I know I've got to be in there more. Because like I said, playing against guys like, and him and Prince Mukamara on the same team, and even Prince, being a veteran guy, we go up against older guys. Patrick Peterson, I played as well. They just do stuff or know stuff. And you're like, how? Like, all I did was line up like I always do. And, they just know certain things are coming. So they definitely made me realize, I've got to watch more film, especially on them individually.
By the way, you still watch SEC football. SEC football is funny. Once you plan it, you watch it forever.
Yeah,
it's like,
for sure.
It's just part of your life. It's so tribal down there. Like, you grew up in Georgia. I mean, geez, but Norcross, Georgia, you're probably a 3-hour car ride from half the schools in the SEC.
Yeah.
So Joe Burrow, you saw Joe Burrow before we knew who Joe Burrow was, right? Like now we all know it. I wasn't talking about Joe Burrow last year.
Yeah.
I do worry about him going to a bad team. Cincinnati's in a division with Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Did you worry about that? When you came out at Auburn, again, you're surrounded, you're winning football games.
Yeah.
Were you kind of like, oh my God, what if I go blank, blank, blank?
Yeah, a little bit, because in college, it's like when you're on a bad college team, there's just no hope, kind of thing. Like,
well, you also choose where you want to go.
Definitely. Also that as well, for sure. But kind of one thing I learned in the NFL is, like, there's kind of no such thing as, like, a bad team. Like, you see down the stretch of the season, you see a team like the Dolphins that have the year they wanted to have, but they beat the Patriots. So it's like everybody's got NFL players. Everybody's got a chance. It's just, in some cases, you just kind of got to figure it out to get the wins.
What's it like to play the Dallas Cowboys? Do they talk a lot? I mean, that's obviously the biggest brand in American sports is the Yankees and the Cowboys. Did it feel different as a 22-year-old kid? I'm on national TV playing the Cowboys. Did the game feel different?
Not so much. It was Monday Night Football, which I think that was kind of the bigger thing for me, was the fact that it was I watched Monday Night Football all my life. So it's like, wow, there's Randy Moss on the sideline, commentating our game. So it was crazy, but yeah, a little bit. I mean, it wasn't too crazy, chippy out there, but it's obviously a big game, between the Giants and Cowboys.
Grow up in a fairly small town. Auburn's a fairly rural area. You head to New York. You're in New York City. Was there a moment early? You're driving in and you're like, what? I mean, New York can overwhelm people.
Yeah.
Was there a moment for you early? It was like, this is like nothing I've ever been in.
Yeah, not too much. Probably the first time I hit Times Square was the first time I was like, wow, like this is crazy because it looks just like the movies. You know, a lot of places you go, you know, the movies kind of, you know, embellish or it's not as good, but Times Square is legit, like screens everywhere. So that was probably the only thing up there that I was really like, wow, like I'm really in New York.
But you don't the Giants don't hang out in New York City much. Your training facility, you're over in Jersey, aren't you?
Yeah, in Jersey 90% of the time.
Yeah. Well, it's great meeting you, Darius Slayton, Giants wide receiver. So your season's over. What do you do for the next month? Because you go to, when's your OTA?
I believe it's in April.
Okay, so there you go. What do you do for the next month? Off your rookie year, you're healthy. You had a great year.
Yeah.
All rookie team. What do you do for the next 4 or 5 weeks?
Eventually, pretty soon here, I'm going to get back to training, probably go somewhere warm like South Florida. Just get back to training and try to better myself and, you know, build on this first year.
Do you ever watch film of veteran receivers and steal anything? I mean, Larry Fitzgerald's going to play in his 17th year. Now, you guys are different receiver, but you ever watch film and be like, oh, I got to take that move?
Oh, for sure. But I think you kind of, as you watch certain guys, like there's certain guys like I just can't, like DeAndre Hopkins. I can't copy what he does. You know, he just plays bully ball and snatches the ball at the air. Like, I'm a fast guy. You know, I'm more Stephon Diggs-ish kind of build. So I watch everybody as much as I can, but there's just some guys, like Mike Evans, 6'5". I'm not 6'5".
Yeah.
So, you know, there's some things you can't take from certain guys, but for sure, like, guys that are similar built to you, you can definitely take things
You got
from.
a little Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, that's a guy I watch a lot, actually.
Okay, Deshaun Jackson, that's what it... Hey, it's great meeting you.
Yeah.
You're welcome back anytime. Is Adidas your sponsor?
Yes, they are.
There you go. Good company.
Pretty sharp life.
Good stuff for you. First NFL season, 8 receiving touchdowns. Joe Judge is his new coach. Love to see you again. Dad goes to all the games. Good family. I love stories like yours, man.
Yes, sir.
Congrats. Joy with the news.
No.